y'all, howdy. Welcome to One for the Books. I'm Sandy Broadwell, and today we're going to do a book haul. I was not anticipating doing a book haul today, but I have like 3 different vlogs I'm working on at the moment, and none of them are ready to be published. So my options were either do a book haul or have some other fluffy video, but I'm not ready to review any books at the moment, I guess is what I'm saying. So I just thought I'd talk about all the books that I've acquired thus far this year. And in that, I'm including the books that I got for Christmas, because I actually got 8 books for Christmas. It was a really, really good Christmas. Super stoked about those. And then so far in January, February, we're now a week into March, I have bought for myself 5 more books. So I have 13 books to talk to you guys about today. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these or what book you've hauled so far this year that you're most excited about. Okay, so diving right in. The first one I have, let's talk, how do I want to organize these? Let's talk first about books that I received for Christmas that I have already read. I'm super excited about these because I have a hard time buying books for myself that I have already read, because at that point I'm just buying them to have them on my shelves, which feels extravagant. And I have a job now, but I was unemployed for like the last year and a half intentionally. But so I was like really ratcheting down on the book buying and fun purchases. And I lived in a van during that time, so I didn't have room for physical books. Now I have a house, I have bookshelves, and I'm so excited to fill them up with books that I know that I love and to be able to lend those books out to friends. So, long story short, 4 of the books that I got for Christmas were books that I've already read and loved, and I'm so excited to have them on my shelves now. And the first of those is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. This made it into my top 10 books that I read last year. Absolute banger of a fun time. It is a retired lady pirate who has to get her old crew back together for like one last, it's not really a heist. They're trying to rescue a family member of one of the crew that was kidnapped. And there's like occult magic, there's sea monsters, there's piracy. It's delightful. So much fun. I cannot wait for the next installment in the series, which has not been announced yet, but I am really crossing my fingers that we'll get an announcement about that soon. And then, sticking on the Chakraborty shelf, I now am so excited to say that I own the Daevabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty, which is obviously the same author. I read these 2 years ago, I think. So the first one is City of Brass, the second one is Kingdom of Copper, and the third one is Empire of Gold. And my husband actually just read these for the first time. I also convinced my mom to read them. I'm just so excited to like share the love of this series out in the world. The Daevabad trilogy is about a woman who is kind of a charlatan or like a con woman, but she does have some kind of unexplained healing powers. And she is performing a kind of fake healing ritual in the streets of Egypt, and she accidentally summons a jinn. And the jinn is angry about this and is also suspicious of her because of her healing powers. And he ends up kidnapping her and taking her to Daevabad, which is the city of the jinn. And it's like this whole hidden world. There is so much great court politics in this series, but the characters are really what shine and stick with you long after the series is over. Absolutely love the series, and I'm so excited to have a Shannon Chakraborty shelf on my bookshelves now, and to be able to share more of her with my friends who come over to visit and whoever else I can convince to read them. Those were the books that I received that I've already read. No, that's not true. The other book that I received for Christmas that I already read, those were all from my mother-in-law and stepfather-in-law, so I'm very grateful to them. This next book that I received for Christmas that I've already read was from my parents, and that is Jurassic Park. I specifically asked for this edition, which is the Books A Million exclusive edition of Jurassic Park, just because I happened to be shopping in Books A Million one day and I saw this and I was like, oh my god, this edition is so cool. It's leather and the texture is like dinosaur skin. It has like little, I don't know how well you can see it, but it has like scaly texture and then smooth, obviously, where the dinosaur is. But I just absolutely fell in love with this, and I was really surprised this was only, the tag's still on the back, it was only $27, which I feel like is the cost of a normal hardback anyway, but it's a really cool edition of it. The cover is pretty much the only thing special about it, I think, but I have read Jurassic Park. I think I've only read it one time. I might have read it twice, but it is a fantastic book if you've never read it before. Obviously, it spurred the Jurassic Park movie that we all know and love from the 90s and the subsequent series, but this book in particular is such a great like sci-fi thriller story, and it's very different from the film, but great despite that. I absolutely love the original Jurassic Park movie. I absolutely love this book. They're very, very different. So if you haven't read Jurassic Park and you are a fan of the movie, you should totally pick this up, because it'll give you a brand new story with these characters that you already love. So that is officially all the books that I have received or bought that I have already read. I got 3 more books for Christmas, which I have not read yet, and I'm super excited about this. This is the Rook and Rose trilogy. This starts with The Mask of Mirrors, and then the second book is called The Liar's Knot, and the third book is Labyrinth's Heart. I believe this is kind of a Venetian-inspired court politics series. Let me just see. Fortune favors the bold. Magic favors the liars. Rin is a con artist who has come to the sparkling city of Nadezra with one goal: to trick her way into a noble house, securing her fortune and her sister's future. But her masquerade is just one of many, and as corrupt nightmare magic begins to weave its way through the city of dreams, the poisonous feuds of its nobility and the shadowy dangers of its impoverished underbelly become tangled, with Rin at their heart. That sounds great. Also, M.A. Carrick is a author duo in the same way that like James S.A. Corey is an author duo, and one half of this author duo is Marie Brennan, who is the author of the Memoirs of Lady Trent series, which is the dragon series. It starts with a natural history of dragons. I read that my first year on BookTube, I think 2022. Loved that series, and so I'm really excited to see what Marie Brennan is going to do with a author duo setup. I think the premise sounds really cool. I love the idea of a Venetian inspired city. I've been to Venice and can't wait to see what that looks like in a fantasy setting. Also, I just love the covers for this series. They're so beautiful. So yes, this will be a series that I definitely get to sometime this year, and I'm very excited to read them. So those are all the books I bought for Christmas, and then I have 5 more books that I've purchased this year. And we'll start with, I think 4 of them are actually used. So the first one that I bought is The Measure by Nikki Erlich. This is a book, I think it's like a contemporary sort of sci-fi sort of story where basically one day everyone in the world wakes up with a box on their front doorstep, and inside is a piece of string, and the length of the string tells you how long your life is going to be. And so all across the world, people learn like how long they have left to live. And I don't think it ever really dives into like where the strings come from or anything like that. It's just about all these various people dealing with the consequences of knowing when they're going to die. I've heard really great things about this. Super intriguing premise. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this, but I am excited to have it for a rainy day. Then The Wolf by Leo Carew is another one that I purchased recently. This is the start of a series, And from what I've heard pitched previously, this is like a fantasy world inspired by the idea of like, what if Neanderthals never died out? Like, what if there was two competing humanoid species on the planet for resources? So I think that sounds super interesting. That's basically all I know about this, and I think that that premise sounds super intriguing. I will get to this hopefully sometime, but I don't even know if I'm gonna squeeze this in this year. So we'll see. Then I got 2 collections of poetry by Mary Oliver. And I, previous to this, had never read any Mary Oliver before, but I've heard amazing things about her poetry, and I haven't read any poetry in a long time, so I was excited to try out a new author. I know that she is most well known for like nature inspired poetry, and that is usually the type of poetry that speaks to me most deeply. So I've already read Redbird, which you'll be seeing a review of sometime in the future. And the other one is Why I Wake Early, which I have not started on yet. But yeah, just based on this, her poetry was beautiful, and I'm excited to have her on my shelves. And then the final book that I just bought this past week, which is probably the least exciting to all of you, is Grow Great Vegetables in North Carolina. So I just moved to North Carolina, which you may know if you watched my last like life update video, but I now live in Asheville. I lived in Kentucky prior to that, and this is my first time ever owning a home, so I have a yard for the first time ever. Very excited to garden this year, and so I went to a seed starting workshop and I bought this book about growing vegetables. Unfortunately, I have a lot of big mature trees in my yard, which I love and adore. I'm so excited about the trees. But the unfortunate part of that is that I have almost entirely shade in my yard once the trees leaf out. And so I'm actually not sure that I can even grow vegetables. Vegetables need a lot of sunlight, and I don't think that I have enough. So I've heard that I might still be able to grow like leafy greens and like mushrooms. But the like vegetables that I'm most excited to grow, I don't think I'm going to be able to pull off. But this will be really informative. It has a ton of great information in it. I've started reading through it already, and it's fascinating. I'm glad that I have this book, even if I'm not able to grow vegetables the way that I want to, just because there's so much good information in here. So if you are also a vegetable gardener in North Carolina, I highly recommend this. The author is Ira Wallace, and he has a generic book, which I think is just called Grow Great Vegetables by Ira Wallace. So if you're not in North Carolina, I'm pretty sure these 2 books have the same basic information in them. This one is just tailored to my region. So anyway, even if you don't live in North Carolina, you can look for Grow Great Vegetables by Ira Wallace. So those are the 13 books that I have acquired since Christmas. I'm very excited to have all of these on my shelves. For the 5 that I have recently purchased, I will hopefully get to them soon. I'm definitely, like I said, definitely going to get to the Rook and Rose trilogy sometime this year. The rest of them, maybe this year, maybe next year. We'll see what happens. So let's see if I can get them all in one shot. This is always the challenge of doing a book haul video. Okay, I'm going to have to back up. Let me move my chair. This requires standing. Ugh. Okay. Ta-da! Can I get my face in there too? Ugh. Here we go. All 13 books for the book haul. Okay. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out. Like I said, let me know which book you've purchased so far this year that you're most excited to read. And I'll talk to you again next time. Bye.